revolution. Vocal revolution. Vocal revolution. Vocal revolution. Change the world with your voice.
So hello everyone and welcome to the Vocal Revolution podcast, where we talk about the power of your voice to change the world personally and collectively. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be speaking today with Linor Oren, who is a wonderful singer and voice teacher who knows exactly what it is to go from I can't sing to singing in a hall full of strangers. As a shy kid who didn't take her first singing lesson until she was 21, she graduated from the Jerusalem Academy of Music and Dance and went on to study and perform in Germany. In 2017, she moved to the Netherlands, which is where she's talking to us from today, where she runs her voice studio and leads the Merry Poppins Musical Choir. Her teaching method blends vocal technique with bodywork and mental practice. And her forthcoming book, Sing Anyway, which is coming out in May, helps beginner singers find their voices and sing in front of others. So welcome, Linor. It's just so wonderful to talk to you and
Hi,
find out
Katie.
more. So hello, and hello to everyone who's listening as well. It's lovely to have you listening to us and being here with us and sharing this amazing conversation. I'm sure you're going to really enjoy it. And Lenore, tell
I
us.
already am enjoying it.
Hey,
Just that
fun.
introduction was so nice. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
It's so lovely to have you here.
I know that you're in the interviewer and you're supposed to ask questions, but I was wondering if I can open the conversation by singing a little song for you.
Of course, we love that. Always up for
Yeah.
singing. There's
So
never too much singing.
I was inspired earlier when I was listening to something, and it was the song that haven't heard before, and I thought it's really in line with what we're about to talk about today, and it gives me some Johnny Mitchell vibes as well. So yeah, and I love Johnny Mitchell. So yeah, I'll just sing it for. I'm not a ukulele player, but it's just a nice support for me. Do the thing that you love right now. Do the thing that you love right now. Do the thing that you love right now. It has magic and medicine.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That is lovely to hear.
That was such a boost of inspiration. Yeah, I was just listening to it before. I recommend everybody go to that episode. I think it's from October. Katie talking about why you should do your thing. And I have to tell you, I work a lot with my students and on myself with motivation in practice because fear gets in the way. And that's the thing that you're talking about in that episode. And there's so much good advice there that I think it will be really helpful. Like I'm giving my students hacks all the time on how to make things approachable and motivational, and that was a good bunch of tools that I can start using tomorrow. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to watch the episode and to not just watch it, but to learn the song. I'm just like over the moon. You've just, yeah, totally made my day.
It's a
And
good song.
oh, thank you. Maybe I'll dig it out. Sing it in a choir warm-up or something. But you've reminded me, sometimes you make these things up and then you forget all about them. So thank you. That was so lovely to hear that. And what a great way to start. Thank you. I'm a little bit overwhelmed now. So thank you. But tell us a little bit more. I mean, obviously, I've just shared a little bit of your background, but tell us what got you into that? You just talked about motivation. What motivates you and what got you into going from being a shy kid to being this amazing singing teacher that helps other people sing? Tell us about that.
So yeah, in the first 21 years of my life, I was convinced that singing is not what I'm going to do because there was too much fear around that. I would classify it as anxiety, actually. And I never would have dreamed that I would become a singer, but then it was always at the back, right? Kind of lurking and reminding me that I love it. And I would sing when I was completely alone, like in empty bus shelters and stuff like that. And I would look around like just to make sure that there is nobody around and that desire was in me. So when I was 21, I decided to take a secret voice lesson. Nobody was supposed to know about it. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like the rush of joy, and it was pure adrenaline basically going through my system that I couldn't shake off for at least an hour after. And I was running to the bus station that was like a 10-minute walk. I was running that after the lesson, and I was like, what where do I know that feeling from? Like this is this incredible thrill that I've felt that before. Where is that? What is that? And then it was clear to me where I knew that feeling from. It was when my first love basically came true. Yeah. I was in love with a man, with a guy, and then he became my boyfriend. And that evening when we kissed for the first time, that's how I felt. And then I realized I'm in love.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So there was no denying that anymore. And I realized, can I curse on this podcast? Or better not.
Go for it. Go for it. I don't think, we're not on the BBC, so I don't have to put a beep.
Right.
But just a little warning for anyone
Well,
that does get as offended by that, just put your hands in your ears.
exactly. No, I was basically a shit. Now I have to do it. Now I have
Mm,
to sing. And I have to, whatever fears I have around singing, I need to work on that. I need to get over it because this is what I have to do.
yeah,
So that was very strong, and it kept me going for many years, struggling very, very hard with performance anxiety. I needed to kind of get myself to a point when I'm able to do it, and then at some point, I also got myself to a point where I enjoyed doing it. But that was a very long journey. Um, and I'm happy to say now that after like 10 years of trial and error that I did that, I got some tools and some ways to go about it. And now I can coach other people to hopefully not take 10 years um, to get over the stage fright and be able to enjoy their performances. And that doesn't mean, by the way, that you are not going to be nervous anymore. I'm nervous as we speak. I'm nervous, but it's not a bad thing anymore, you know? It's not paralyzing and not detrimental to my singing.
absolutely. And it's like that. I always liken it to getting on, when a plane is taking off and you feel that adrenaline rush. And like the plane has got to do that stuff to get off the ground. So I like when I feel those nerves rising, I'm going, okay, yeah, the plane is rising. It's got to do what it's got to do. And actually,
That's a
if
good
I was trying to
analogy.
stop that, if I try and stop it, it's going to crash, So I need to let the nerves be there and then ride them and fly with them rather than fight them. But it does, as you say, it takes a lot of work to go over to overcome some of our anxieties, and they're very can be very personal to each of us, what causes different levels of anxiety about our voices. Sometimes it's messages that people have heard about their voice or experiences they've had that are generating more anxiety than just the physiological, takeoff nerves. So, you're doing amazing work that's really supporting people. Tell us a little bit more about your practice and your teaching.
Thanks. So first of all, it's a really beautiful metaphor with the airplane, and I completely agree. Like what I sometimes feel when I'm really nervous, but I allow it to happen, is that you go on some kind of a ride, right? Like almost like a roller coaster ride, and if you go on it and you don't try to, oh, I almost dropped my equipment, and you don't try to control it, it's yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah. It's like I've never done drugs, but it's probably something like that, just out of this world. And yeah, um, you can definitely work on yourself to come to that place when you channel the right uh, functions, I guess, of your system, and allow yourself to feel the nerves and enjoy them at the same time. So what I do now with my students is, first of all, I make that performance aspect a part of what we are doing. And because I am the way I am and I had my history the way it was, I attract all of the people with performance anxiety, and stage fright, social anxiety, whatever, all of that. Yeah, because they just attract likes, I guess. Um, and it's important to me that we don't kind of compensate by going only like into ourselves in our practice room, kind of bubbled up in, I need to first be good and then I can share whatever, when it's ready. We work very early on, you make your voice better, of course, because that's fun. Yeah. But you also learn to switch your mentality completely on its head from I need to get better to I'm amazing the way it is. Yeah. Just the way my voice is right now is perfect to sing a song. And
Mm,
you learn how to sing a song from start to finish. You learn how to look at the big picture. You learn how to express the song. And you have all those performance skills, right? And you have all the work that you can do to process your stage fright and make progress with that. You do all of that as a part of your practice. So
mm,
I recommend everybody, you dedicate some time to vocal technique and then you put that on the shelf and you do performance work. Yeah. Can be a few minutes of just singing your song one time, start to finish, and then you don't try to make it better.
mm.
What? How can I? Yeah, but that's something that you have to practice because otherwise you'll get into that rabbit hole of I'm never good enough. I always need to get better. And, you know, that can drive you up in your practice, in your technique level, but it can also limit you because you are always with that mentality that I'm not good enough,
Mm.
that it's never satisfactory. You can't perform and you can't enjoy a song as a whole with that mentality. So
Yeah,
you need to have two different mentalities, completely opposite, one for vocal technique and one for performance. And you do that in your practice session every day.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, it's just getting in the moment and allowing yourself to be and to refine and edit because editing,
Hmm.
editing can go on forever. We can continue editing and refining things. There's no end to that. And there's nothing
That's
wrong with
correct.
doing that. But if we stay only in the editor, then we're just in the critiquing and the refining, and that can become a form of procrastination in a way to actually to kind of hold back from, well, actually, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to share it from where I am now, and that's as I am, perfect as it is. I love that.
Yeah.
I really
And
love.
as a bonus, those two different mentalities and the two different modes, if you will,
Mm,
they help each other in
yes.
um, in a mysterious way. One of my students made the analogy of a ladder. So if you have like two different rungs in the ladder, and you take one foot on one rung, and then the other one goes just above it, you know. And so that's how he feels that it works. You work on your performance that helps also release some of the hesitation and insecurity that you have around the technique, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes. So that can help the technique manifest more. Yeah. Just display itself more. You can elevate your technique. And when you elevate your technique, it can help your performance because you have more access to your voice. You can do more things with your voice. You can express more things with your voice. So it's really cool how that works. They seem to be completely separate, but they're not.
Yeah, I love that. They're completely interconnected. And I mean, I've often found also, I think some beautiful spontaneous things happen sometimes in performance that are not so accessible, perhaps if we're just, sitting and working and practicing and going through, our routines. And whereas in performance, I certainly have found, or, when I've been recording something and then I've sung it completely differently, just randomly, it's just spontaneously come out. And then I've gone, actually, I really like that better. So I'm going to sing it that way from now on. So, and so performance, just doing something, we get a lot of information back. And we also get that total body feeling being state that informs our technique in and makes it live so that it's not dry and it's not just going through the motions. Because I know we've probably all seen sometimes people that are technically brilliant, but there isn't that kind of connection and charge and buzz that really generates awesome performance. So I think seeing those things as absolutely interdependent and beautifully able to complement each other is a great, that's wonderful. That's just wonderful. And I'm sure, and it sounds like your students are really benefiting from that. Um, and when you talked about coming over the fear aspect of performance, are there kind of steps that you help people through in terms of those particular fears, or is it just very, very individual? How does that work in your sessions?
It is individual, but there are sort of tools that I recommend everybody kind of go over. And the way you find your way to work on your nerves is by trying different things and see what works. Also, you can do this in your home if you want. That depends, on how what I call the level of fear. What the level of fear is. Sometimes just being at home is enough, enough of a performance for some people, and sometimes even being completely by yourself is enough of a performance because some people can't stand their own voice. They are so critical that they can't go through a phrase without stopping and say, "Oh, that was terrible," you know? So sometimes that's enough for you to work on. You don't need to go to an arena and, or go on live TV and start belting out anything to be able to work on your nerves, right? So what I usually do is that we have a set of stage fright exercises, yeah, and you try them out one by one and you see which one is effective. And then you try it in whichever state you're in, you try it for a couple of weeks, and then you start zooming in on the things that help you the most. And the exercises can be, they have different forms. So we have exercises for pure distraction, right? Because we are in fight or flight when we have stage fright. Yeah. We're not really in a position to be calm or look at things, from the outside or look at the big picture. We're really in tunnel vision. Yeah. So in tunnel vision on basically I'm in danger. Yeah. And why do we think we are in danger? That's very evolutionary. If you go back a few dozen thousand years, that a bunch of eyes looking at you or the idea that you're being judged is life threatening. Not anymore, but our body doesn't know that. So our body
Mhm.
still reacts as if we are now in danger just because we're singing and someone might not like it, right? And you can just start by purely distracting yourself from them, thinking about something else, right? So I look around the room and I find, I don't know, a book, and I start describing the book and I move on. That's important to move from one detail to another. Otherwise, you fixate again and you're in tunnel vision again. So you
Yeah.
keep shifting your your attention to other things, and then you clear your mind that way. Another way is to find basically what kind of messages you are giving yourself in that situation, and you correct those messages. So you literally use mantras that correct whatever thoughts you have right now. For example, this is going to be a disaster. I'm going to forget all the lyrics, right? So the mantra can be, it's okay to forget the lyrics. Everybody forgets lyrics. It's not a big deal, right? It's like, I used to feel like I'm not going to survive this. It's ridiculous to say that out loud, but that's how I felt.
Yeah.
So it could be something like, it's not the end of the world. You'll survive this. It's only singing, you know?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
tell yourself things that correct your current beliefs, and you choose those in advance, especially if you have an actual performance. So you come to the stage when you do have some kind of an audience, and it's coming, and you're nervous about it. Then you need to decide what your mantras are going to be in advance, or what your stage fright exercises are going to be in advance. So you don't have to remember them at the moment. Believe me, you will not. Yeah, you will not have any brain space to remember anything. So if you don't remember the lyrics, it's okay. It happens. But yeah, you will have something ready in advance. Even write it down if you need to, yeah, or print it out, so you know what you can do backstage, and you have it at hand when you need it. And another form of stage fright exercise is performance exercises. Yeah. So when you are performing, while you're singing a song, instead of your default, which is to evaluate the level of your singing and analyze each note and say, oh, this note was flat, this note was not as vibrant, this is not really going well, I'm losing the audience, all of those things which go through your mind, they do, and they will, right? This is just, thoughts. Our thoughts appear, and we are not gonna find that button that shuts them off. But you can have something else, right, that will actually serve the song, yeah, and serve your empowerment, serve your sense of joy. And a performance exercise is basically a scenario that you imagine, yeah. So you can imagine, for example, that you have 45 years experience on the stage already. Yeah, I'm already like a has-been practically. Yeah, so it's fine. I know how to do this. Yeah. Or you
Yeah.
can think, just think about the meaning of the song and what it means specifically to you. So if the song
Mm.
is talking to a certain person, you choose that person and you pretend that you're addressing the song to that person. And now you're thinking
Mm.
about that and you mean every word, and that comes across. And you're not thinking about the accuracy of the notes or whatever, yeah,
That's right.
or any of the vocal technique. So yeah, those are all kinds of hacks, and I think everybody should try everything. Yeah.
I love it. Those are all super helpful, and I'm sure those will have really helped people listening. And, it's always good to be reminded of these principles. And, I often talk about the big why for singing. And for me, the big why is always bigger than my little fears, which, are human and natural to have. It could be anything. I know I've done performances where and crazy things have happened, like I remember once the scarf that I was wearing got caught in my instrument case behind me and I couldn't move
Ooh.
until I finished the song and I realized halfway through, but the fact is I was really clear about why I was singing, and so therefore saying to myself, I'm singing this because of, and at that particular gig, they'd asked me to say why I was there before I sang. And that was so helpful because it was for an important cause that I was really aligned with. So when I spoke about, yeah, I'm here for this, which is like what you were saying, I'm singing this song because I'm singing it to my loved one, or I'm singing it because it's for a cause that I align myself with, or there's a story in this song that I find really fascinating, really juicy, whatever it is in the song that gives us that why. That's loads bigger. That for me, that was much bigger than okay, my scarf is caught in my instrument case, and I'm going to have to get out of it when I finish this, you know. And I think you'll find, I love going online and reading about even very famous musicians who have really crazy things happen on stage and how they get through them. And it happens to all of us. We do forget lyrics. We do play bum notes. We do, crazy things happen on stage because it's all part of it. But
Yes.
it's just actually that the bigger thing is the communication of what you're really there for and what you're really connecting with the audience. And if we're it true, I believe, to that ourselves, then the audience feel it and they come with us on that amazing ride. So yeah, I love what you're sharing. It's so
Totally.
important. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And I
No,
know,
thank you for saying that because I think it's something that we never have enough reminders of because of, the way we are in Asia. We want to protect ourselves from, yeah, from screwing up, right? It's
mm,
just a part of us, and that's where the fear comes from. And if you remember what's important, like you said, it makes everything else redundant. Like it makes those little mistakes completely unimportant. And I also want to support that by saying, just imagine yourself from the perspective of the audience, right? If
mm,
you're in the audience and you see a performer, what do you want to get from them? And everybody says pretty much, I just want them to give me what they have. I want them to give me all of themselves. I want to feel the emotion. I want to connect. I want to feel something. I want to be moved. Nobody says, I want them to have 100% of their notes on pitch. Nobody. Yeah. So just remember what you want to receive as an audience member and just notice for a moment that sometimes we have different expectations of ourselves when we go on stage and we suddenly forget that the important stuff is the connection and the meaning and the, sublime, um, magic of the music.
absolutely. It's that magic. That's where it's all happening in that magical connection. And really, honestly, I know I go to gigs and I went to one of my friends' gigs recently and she started saying, "Oh, I was really worried about this and this." I said to her, "Look, I didn't even notice any of that. I was just spellbound by what you were doing. I didn't even know. I had no idea. I was just totally in it with you. I was just totally enjoying you." And it was a really good reminder for me to see her doing what we all do, which is, as musicians, we start, as soon as we perform, we tend to pull it all apart. Oh, I missed this note and I did that. Oh, and I missed, and we can really do a number on ourselves. And I do it as well. But seeing her doing it and saying to her, look, I just was not thinking like that at all. I was just
Yeah.
in the experience. And I was not totally not evaluating every note. And anyway, whatever you know, I probably don't know. I don't know what the lyrics are supposed to sound like. So, or what this bit was
That's
supposed to
right.
sound like. You know,
And
I'm just there to enjoy it.
don't deprive
Mm,
your audience of that um, special experience.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Don't shed light on something that they probably will not even notice, right? Like, oh, I'm feeling a little bit unwell today, so, or I'm really nervous, or don't make excuses in advance. Or, maybe sometimes even mid performance, people want to make a face if they forget a word or like an apologetic face. You're shedding light on a mistake, and that takes away from us enjoying the whole song. And I'm telling you, if you do what Katie just said, basically your scarf is stuck in the instrument case and you just keep going and stay true to the song, stay connected to the music and your audience. I promise you, either they're not going to notice or they're not going to care. It's going to be completely meaningless. And don't let that deprive us from that special experience.
Absolutely. That's so beautiful. And singing is a magical thing, isn't it? It's a form of incredible magic and communication and within ourselves and with our audiences. So yeah, we want to allow that magic as much as we can. And the mind will always have its stuff, it's always going to be jabbering on. That's just its nature. But um, really it's much bigger than that. And talking of magic and seeing what singing does for people, tell us some magical stories that you've seen happen for people, either yourself in performance or maybe your students or your choirs. Tell us some of your magical stories.
Okay, there are a lot of those. Yeah, one of my favorite and recent magic moments that well, it's not really a moment, but it's more like I guess a process, yeah, or magic transformation that I've seen was one of my students, Ellen. Um, she joined about a year ago into my program from Whisper to Roar, and she told me in the beginning, I can't imagine myself actually doing this. Like this is very foreign to me. I don't sing. I only sang once to my grandson, and he really liked it. So I thought I should learn how to do it. But yeah, you're talking about a group, like singing in front of the group. I can't see how that can happen. And I told her, this is what I do. And I know exactly how you feel, but we're going to take it step by step and I'll help you. And she said, well, I have no idea how that's possible, but I'm just going to go with you. I'll do it. But I have to tell you, I'm skeptical. And I think it was 3 months later, she joined through her neighbor, her next door neighbor, who's gigging around, and he gave her a nudge, and he said, like, why don't you just come over and we'll just sing together a little bit. And he played the guitar and they sang, and then after a few times he told her, I'm sometimes basking at the riverside there. There's nobody we know. You want to go and do it? And she did it. She actually went and sang on the street. And
Amazing.
I was blown away because I know that if you work on that aspect, and if you work in that approach, then it will happen. I just didn't expect it would happen so quickly. She really just took a leap of faith. It's not like she was not nervous. She was terrified, but she did it. Yeah. And now
Yeah,
they're gigging together. They're like just
fantastic.
singing in bars and in nursing homes, and they're doing duets. And I'm like, who is this person? you know, I'm just so impressed and proud and inspired. And there's really no resemblance. Also, if you just listen to the singing, right? The singing was always pretty. Yeah. I always thought that her voice was pretty, but it was very shy. It was kind of limited because she'd never done it. And now it's beautiful. And yeah, it's shocking to me how big of a difference just giving yourself a chance can make. So
Absolutely. Giving
she's
ourselves permission.
yeah, giving yourself permission, and even without believing at first. So it's
Mm,
really, really closing your eyes and jumping. But
yeah,
she did it step by step, and then she did it with bigger steps. And now, yeah, she's awesome. Yeah.
that's a
And I
wonderful story.
see I see people do that all the time. She's one of those people who took big, really big leaps. But the girls in my choir, for example, there are a lot of them who just basically come to sing in a group because they can imagine themselves ever singing solo, but they still love singing. So that's what I did for 20 years. Fair, not 20 years because I started choirs when I was 8, so maybe 12, 13 years. I sang only in choirs when I had 20, 30 people around me, and nobody could ever hear me, and I was safe. So that's what they're doing. And then bit by bit, you will see somebody kind of stepping up in rehearsal and saying, oh, do you need a backup for this little solo here? I can be backup just for rehearsal, but I don't want to go on stage, right? So they do that. And then after half a year or a year, they go like, okay, I'll submit an audition tape, but something small, and it can take a few years if you don't work on it. That's what happened to me, right? But it can still happen. You can just kind of grow confident in your safe space, and you slowly take a step forward, and you see, oh, I didn't die. I can take a step further. And they slowly find that they can take up more space. And I really like that when it happens.
That's amazing. And it's just so amazing to see that. And it's like our bigger selves, our magical selves know what we want. Our heart calls out to us, whatever we want to call it, your soul, your heart, your bigger self. Um, it kind of
And that's
calls
never
out
going to
and
go
says,
away.
never
That's
going to go
never going to
away.
go away. So how did you call it? The magical self or the
Yeah, magical self. I don't know. It just came to me to call it that. But your bigger self, the just
yeah.
this idea
Because
that
I know that there's this term
yeah,
called the higher self. I was
yeah,
wondering if
higher
it's
self.
similar. Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
so
think
you can deny yourself that joy or that expression for decades, but eventually
yeah,
you will do it because it's not going anywhere.
exactly. If it's
So
inside
might
of
as well
you.
do it now,
Exactly, exactly. And it does can sit and be, and things can come along that make us feel like, trauma experiences or just different priorities, different commitments at different times in our lives. But I think that that is still always there. And if it's meant to be there, it's there for a reason to be listened to. And it's our ultimately it's the form of inspiration inside of us. There's just so many different words people have called it throughout time, with your spirit, your inspiration. Even we find in a lot of cultures the word for breath and inspiration and spirits, they're all the same. And that kind of says, in some languages, and that for me shows me that yeah, just the act of breathing in inspiration allows us to connect with our spirit. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about music. It does make us breathe more deeply and really get inspired and get into that bigger self that wants to be creative, that wants to express ourselves beyond what's kind of we've conditioned ourselves to sit in.
Wow.
Amazing. So,
I I have a
yeah,
question
tell
for
me.
you.
Yeah, please.
Do you have a lot of experience, or have you met a lot of people who were given comments about their singing and kind of took on the label of bad singer because they heard this one comment
Yeah.
back in the day? Is that
Yeah.
something that you see a lot?
All the time, all the time. And um, I tend to work, I've worked a lot with adults, and even adults I've seen adults turn those labels around even in their 80s and 90s and put them to one and have a totally new beginning with their
Wow.
voice, you know?
Oh,
Um,
that's good.
yeah, it's amazing. So it's never too late. It's never too late to quash those messages. And it takes a little bit of work and a little bit of love for ourselves to dig those
Mm,
places out and to be honest about the impact that that had, because often those things have happened when we were very, very small and we were just like little sponges and we just took it on board and we didn't know, we just believed it and we made it mean something about ourselves, and then it becomes a box that we live inside. And so many people will
yes.
say, yeah, I was told to just mime in the choir, or I was told don't come to the choir, or even I was told don't move around too much, you're moving too around. And then I left the choir because they were telling me I couldn't move, I couldn't express myself. So we've all had those messages. And I think the important thing is to go as adults, we can take care of those little children that were us then, and we don't have to stay in that box, and we can look after them and love them and mend them and cuddle them and say, hey, it's okay
Mm.
now, I've got you, and we're moving forward now, we're adults now, we can do this differently. What they said back then, it's just back then, this is now.
It's incredible to me how one comment or one weird look is all it takes.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to be persuaded much to take on that identity of I'm not a musical, or I have a bad voice, or I have an ugly voice, or I sing out of tune, or whatever. It really does take just one time.
Mm,
That's amazing to me because it just drags us down our whole lives. And what kills me about it is that it's all the time. I'm thinking about one exception. I have one exception, but all the other times, it's not true. Like people who think that they're bad are never as bad as they think they are.
Mhm.
And, we are voice teachers, so we also know that if you have a certain limitation to your voice, you can just work on it and improve it. And I'm not a scientist, so I can't tell you that I've looked at the entire population, but I've been doing this for over 20 years. So you do the math. I've basically not seen a single person who couldn't improve on their voice, not even one. So you do the math, right? So this is like such a waste, you know what I mean? It's such a waste. And it breaks
Yeah,
my heart. Just
it's
wasting
tragic.
lives. And then people who come to us when they're 50, 60, 70, 80 sometimes, they've wasted all those decades when they could have enjoyed their sound and their singing and enjoy music and express themselves. They wasted those years. It just breaks my heart
Yeah.
for no good reason.
Yeah, and a lot of it's to do with control and power and how control and power operate in our societies as well. That's what I believe, because if we have societies full of people that are expressing themselves and being vocal and loud and expressed, they're going to be less easy to control.
Mm.
So there's that aspect to it as well, and I don't mean by that we have to all be starting revolutions, but I just mean to be self-expressed in our lives, to be self-empowered, there's a lot in society that is designed to stop us doing that. So, but when we
Yes,
claim this incredible power in our voices, we are no longer that. We aren't afraid to, and it's not just about singing. Sometimes I've heard stories of people who suddenly started speaking up in their lives about it just might be having those important conversations or, asking for a raise at work or those sort of things on a day-to-day level, feeling that you have your voice there for you and that it will be there for you when you need it, those moments, is a very powerful thing. And so, it's great when we allow ourselves the liberation and we're also compassionate with ourselves that it might just be one message, but it might also be a lot that we've absorbed just from social society and conditioning that's keeping us in that
yes,
box. And so when we break out of it, the good news is not only for us, we're doing it, I believe everybody else benefits. All the people in our lives benefit because we start communicating in different ways. All the people in our community starts benefiting and we become a champion and we can empower other people's voices. And that's what's happened for you. You found your voice and now look at what you're doing. It's
mm.
amazing.
And it sounds to me that this is your life mission as well. Like you're really working on that, you know, taking care of your kind of wounded child or something, just really doing that self work so you can allow yourself what your birthright is.
Yeah, and it's ongoing. It's ongoing different work at different times. And the good news is it's a lifelong joyful process of self-discovery and knowing ourselves. And it's joyful. It's joyful because
Yeah,
some of this stuff might sound to some people like it sounds a bit heavy. I've got to dig out all this stuff. Not necessarily. It can be really, really joyful and liberating and just wonderful when you start again getting into that magical self, into that magical place and having just this joy in life of singing and being free. It's just wonderful.
absolutely. Yeah, discovering your voice is the best. There's really nothing like that. I dare
Absolutely.
say.
And so tell us a little bit about the book because I know that's coming out very
Uh,
soon. So tell us about that.
I printed out the cover. So this is what
Oh,
it looks
look.
like. It's going to look
Wow.
like this.
Gorgeous.
Sparkly.
Very sparkly. I love
Uh,
it. Very magical.
yeah. Um, so yeah, the book is pretty much about stuff that we talked about today. First of all, giving the permission. Yeah. So first of all, realizing that you have a right to sing. And if you are reading a book like this, then you probably want to. So I'm helping you get to the point when you say, okay, I will do it. I don't know how, but in this book, I show you how. And I take you step by step through giving the permission, understanding basically how the voice works, because that helps a lot of people with the permission part, right? So instead of the labeling, this, sounds bad, you can break it down, can actually analyze the heck out of it and make it better, right? So we geek about the voice a lot as well in the second part of the book. And then in the third part of the book, we're going through the stage fright stages, and we're getting to a point where we can do it. Yeah. And we can do it with the nerves if the nerves don't go away, and we can have the inspiration and the expression and those priceless moments with the audience that we want. And for some people, that's not what they want. Some people don't want to go on stage, and that's fine. You don't have to go on stage. But as we said, there are different kinds of stages for people. Some people just performing in front of themselves is something that they would like to just feel free about. You just want to sing and feel free and not agonize about how horrible it is, or you would wish it not be that horrible. So we work on all those things. But like you said in your introduction, your lovely introduction, I believe that vocal technique comes side by side with the mental work that we have to do to basically get our brain and our deprecative thoughts out of the way, and channel our thinking to to things that will help. Yeah, to do productive kind of assessment of the voice. And we work side by side with body work, because you can't sing while choking yourself at the same time, even though I know you want to try. I tried that for a few years. It did not work. So you want to you want to learn how to free up your voice first, free up your muscle tension around your throat. And you want to align your voice, because you're singing with your entire body. You want to have that in place. And then, just doing that, sometimes I call it taking the sticks out of the wheel, right? You have a tension somewhere in your body that's like a stick in the wheel, which is your voice that wants to just keep going. It wants to turn, and it has that ability to turn and to keep going. You basically just take out the sticks, and just doing that will show you that you have a voice inside. Yeah. Just stop choking it for a moment, and you'll see, there's actually quite a bit in there already. And once you do that, you can start doing more stuff with it. But I'm giving the fundamentals of removing the blockages from singing. Yeah.
Beautiful. And so the book's out in May. And so that's make sure to get, I'm going to be getting a copy. I'm really excited. Is there a
Yes, you
little,
are.
I'm going to get a copy. I can't wait to read it. Is there a little tip, maybe something from the book, or just something that comes to you now that you'd like to share with people, or a little message?
Just any tip. I can choose any. There are a lot of tips in the book,
Anything.
but
I know there's loads, but maybe one that you just feel this is the one you'd like to just share now, and then everyone can go off and get the book and read all of them.
yeah, I mean, maybe just start with the one that gives permission, right? Um, I will give you a little tip. So let's say you have decided that you would like to overcome your shyness or your insecurity, and you want to work on your voice, and you want to do that in a joyful way. The first step would be to own it and to say, I'm now going to go into that room and I'm going to make some noises. And, whoever is going to teach you how to do that, if you're working with me, I reassure you that it's going to be some crazy stuff going on. So just embrace that. Say, I'm going to go into that room, make some crazy noises, and that's what I want. And that's what I like. And that's why I get to do it. And I get to sing in my own house. That's something that you know as amazing as it sounds, that's one of the first blockages for most of my students. They don't feel comfortable singing in their own home because neighbors are listening, housemates are listening. So you get to sing in your own house, right? So just start with that. There is actually no rule that I have learned about that says that you need to sing well at all. So that's not a necessity, actually. You can go and you can sing terribly. Please do. And and actually, even the best singers in the world, they sometimes have bad notes. There is no formula that I can give you when you will sound good all the time. So just by learning to sing, you know for a fact some of those notes are going to be bad, quote unquote. And that's just, like the cliche says, a part of the process, right?
Mm.
So if just knowing that you have that right, and you know that I'm right, that you have that birthright to sing, and you can sing in your own home, and the law supports that. If that's not enough, go to your housemates, sit them down, and tell them, I'm going to do this thing. Yeah? Own it. Yeah? I'm not going to learn how to sing. I love singing. So I'm going to go into that room sometimes and make crazy noises. Please don't call the cops. It's all part of the plan. Yeah?
Yeah, I
And
got it.
it's always with that bottom line, the unapologetic bottom line, I'm going to do this. You don't need to
Mm.
give reasons why you're doing this. You don't need to sound a certain way. You basically just let them know. And then you can also let them know what you need, right? Like, I need you to be supportive, whatever that looks like to you. Some people want to get feedback, some people don't want to get feedback. Some people don't want any comments at all. Like I didn't want any comments, not even compliments in the beginning. So I told my dad, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to practice. Please don't give me compliments. Please pretend like this is not happening. That's what I need. Yeah? I need you to put on your noise canceling headphones for a moment. That's what I need, right? So you set the tone, you let them know this is happening, and go for it.
Wow, I love that. I love that. I love that. I love the giving of permission and then really owning it and asking very clearly what you need, And that's an internal process as well, isn't it? Of learning
Yeah.
to get that support from within ourselves as well and go, yeah, what do I need? What do I really need about what's going to look after me and my voice in this moment? And then allowing that to evolve as the journey unfolds. Wow, thank you for sharing that. That's just so generous and all the wonderful things you've shared today. It's been such a rich conversation, and I know we could speak for ages, but I'm aware of your
Yeah.
time and everybody else's time. How can people find you as well and the book? And do you have a website? Are you online? Tell us where you are.
Yeah, I have a website. It's called singwell.eu.
Hmm.
And if you go on the website, I'm sure you will not be able to miss the book because it's it's going to be on the front page. And you can also, if you're doing it right now, you can also become a pre-reader. If you just, I don't know when is that gonna come out, the episode,
Um,
but
we're gonna we're gonna put this out at the beginning of May, so should be
yeah.
perfect.
Okay. So I'm not sure if it's going to be in time for the pre-readers, but that doesn't matter. You can just basically sign up for it, and when it launches, we'll have a nice promotion. You can get the book, and you can always reach out to me also through the website and learn about everything that I do through there.
Fantastic. And you've got a very thriving YouTube channel as well, haven't you, as well? So people can
Mm,
find you on there. And I guess that's all on the
yeah.
website as well.
Yes.
Fantastic. Oh, Linor, it's just been such an honor and a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you so
All
much.
mine, all mine. I enjoyed it a lot, and you're a great interviewer, and you have so much wisdom to give that I can sign off on everything you say. So
Oh,
it's really great
likewise.
to speak to someone like-minded.
Yeah, it's lovely to share and to share to share the way, the joy of the voice and to hear it always charges me up to know, and it gives me so much excitement to know that, you're out there doing what you're doing and helping people find your voice because we just need lots of us doing that, and everybody doing
Yes.
it for themselves actually, because everybody has a voice. So it's just so exciting to have found out more about you and your work, and I'll be definitely following along now to see what you're up to. And really
Thank you.
excited to have
Same
met
here.
you. And your wisdom and your commitment is so compelling. And I'm still really touched that you
Thank
sang
you.
to me at the beginning. I was just like,
Yes, I'm very touched that you made up that song just to make a point in a certain episode. You wrote a song, and that was so brilliant.
I think that happened very spontaneously as far as I remember. And, that's the thing, isn't it? And we don't know who's going to, the fact that you've found that meaningful, and I'd kind of forgotten about that because that was a while ago. That's the thing, we don't know the impact our voices are going to have out in the world. And a lot of the time we're just, going through life, putting things out there in whatever way we express ourselves in life. And then but to have someone like you come and tell me, yeah, this meant something to me, this I resonated with this, and that will be the same for all of us. Whatever we've given, of our hearts from that magical place in us, it can carry on resonating beyond anything you can imagine. So we can really, this is what I mean by changing the world. Our voices do have that capacity to send these amazing ripples out. And that's what you're doing. You're sharing your voice in such an amazing, powerful way through singing, through teaching, through inspiring people, and the book. And the book's going to help that ripple out even further. So I wish you
I
absolutely
hope
every
so.
success. It will. It will.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for joining me today. And thank you so much for everyone who has listened. It's been absolutely a wonderful conversation. And do let us know what you thought about it and what you took away from it. And look forward to seeing you in the next episode very soon. Thank you so much again, Lenore. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Change the world with your voice.